These days, you can get practically everything on demand, like our podcast. Listen whenever you want, when it's convenient for you. Well, did you know you can even get postage on demand now? All you need is Stamps.com. With Stamps.com, you can access all the services of the post office right from your desk. Buy and print real U.S. postage for any letter or any package. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just click, print, mail, and you're done. Stamps.com will even send you a digital scale. You can weigh your letters and packages and print the exact amount of postage every time. Right now, use ATH for this special offer. A 4-week trial that includes postage and a digital scale. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in ATH. That's Stamps.com. Enter ATH.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Happy Monday. We start your day with a little get up, then the get down portion of the program. The latest on Butler and Melo, and the Sooner who wished maybe his escort would have let go sooner or later. All with Mr. Bob Ryan, Frank Isola, Kevin Blackstone, and Israel Gutierrez. Let's go. Cowboys 27, Eagles 20, an NFC East game that actually looked like what TV networks think NFC East games look like. You want to start with the Cowboys or Eagles, national panel? Eagles it is. All right, here we go. The defending champs at 4-5, and most shockingly, pulseless at home, at least to start, coming off the bye. Wentz, second half, couldn't expunge his first half. He said a lot of people are going to want to write us off at this point. Now it's just time to play ball and try go shock some people. Israel Gutierrez, around the horn to you first. What do you make of what Wentz said there, and what do you make of the performance the champs had at home last night?
Well, I make that's their go-to when there's issues going on with that team. Hey, let's just shock some people. It's what they did in the playoffs last year. It's what the coach tried to do earlier this season, and now it's Wentz's turn to try this. But if you look at what that team, what the problems are, there are multiple problems, but they're like this close to being that good as they were last year. I'd say the biggest problem is probably the running game. No Jay Ajayi, no real power there. And when you have Carson Wentz playing pretty much great at times, but there's, a few times where he's playing average to below average. Well, you could probably make up for that, especially if you had a stronger running game to really get that RPO offense going on. Everything else is pretty close to what they've been in terms of their depth on defense. They're still quality defensively. They're just not as great as they were at times last year.
I got a whole panel shaking their head no right now. Are they this close, Kevin Blackstone? You can answer that first.
No, they're not this close. They're about this close. You can't even see it because I'm off the screen. This team is nowhere near what they were last year, and I'll just give you two reasons why. Number one, turnovers. Last year, this team was plus 11 when it came to turnovers, which made it a lot easier to score points. This year, they're minus 6. And you saw it yesterday. Carson Wentz with that really bad pick there. Never could get things going. And if you remember one play, I'll point out to you in the Super Bowl, early on, they're down to 3rd and 12 in the first quarter. And what do? They throw a 15-yard pass, move the chains to Torrey Smith. This year, they're even worse in third down, and they're not converting those long third downs. And they got caught in a lot of them yesterday, and that too kept them from getting down the field.
Philadelphia's biggest weakness.
Well, right now, defensively, if you look at what they've done, there have been 11 plays of 20 or more yards in the fourth quarter. There's only 3 other teams in the NFL that have given up bigger plays in the fourth quarter. But they can't win at home. And after coming off a Super Bowl, and this is why you got to give the Patriots a little bit of credit, because it's one thing to do it for 1 year, but to do it consistently for almost now 20 years. Here's Philadelphia. Yeah, they won a Super Bowl. They can't even win a home game. And they're going up against a team that coming into the week, we were talking about their coach, their quarterback. It looked like Dallas was okay last night, that's for sure.
Bob Ryan?
I'm doing a little bit of Me Too with Frank on the latter point, because the idea of one-year wonders is more the norm than the exception. Absolutely. They're not that good. They're JAT right now, just another team, as are the Cowboys, by the way, both looking up to the Redskins, but they can't run the ball the way they did without Ajay, number one. And also, one of the biggest individual personnel losses in the league is Lane Johnson. They missed Lane Johnson, a tackle, and they have not found a way to plug that gap.
Israel, I want to go back to you and back on what Wentz was saying. He's like, we're going to shock some people now because everybody's burying them. I would have argued the exact opposite, that this team is, their struggles have been kind of under the radar this year because everybody was expecting them to break out of them. Israel, you want to address that?
And not only that, but the rest of their division has helped them out because you can have some patience when nobody's running away with it. And that's part of what I'm talking about here. I don't think that they can return fully to that level of last year without Jay Ajayi, without Lane Johnson or what have you. But I do think to recover in that division and to have the best record going into the playoffs, feeling some sort of comfort level, and have Carson Wentz playing even better, I still think they can make a run in the playoffs. I'm not calling them Super Bowl champions.
Does the man in Washington want to address that division? Washington's leading 187 yards passing at a time now?
Yeah, amazing what they did yesterday against a horrible Tampa Bay team, but they've got 2 games up on everybody in that division. Yeah. They've got a much better defense than the Eagles have right now. If they can manage to continue to just get on the board and stuff everybody else, they'll be fine, and the Eagles will not see the playoffs.
Frank Isola, on Dallas, what did last night tell you about Dallas?
Well, I think when you get to November and December, we've heard this before, especially when you're playing in the NFC East and you're on the road, you have to be able to run the ball. So what do they do? It's like they realize, we have Ezekiel Elliott. Get him the ball. Look at how good he was. And the week earlier when they lost, they don't get him enough touches. That's where when he's running like that, it makes Dak Prescott that much better.
Brian?
You know what Dak Prescott is? He's a colossal tease. He can be good at times. You cannot rely on him. That's the problem.
Okay, last night they relied on Ezekiel Elliott, though,
Bob.
How
much you're going to get.
Yeah, last night.
No, I know. Well, they did. But you got to have some quarterback play. Come on. They can't. Elliott's not going to run for 300 yards. No, Elliott's very important. But Prescott is just not reliable.
Last word after the horn.
Yeah, and they got some more targets now. Amari Cooper out there. I mean, they had a little bit of a passing game last night to make things diverse on offense.
We've been horn. We'll move on. Another statement win from Sunday. Titans 34, Patriots 10. Not just that Tennessee beat them down enough for Belichick to pull Brady. That after the Pats ran the Brady pass play again from the Super Bowl and Brady ate it and came up short, Vrabel ran it for the Titans to perfection. This was a revenge game for Malcolm Butler and Dion Lewis, who called the Patriots cheap afterwards. Bob, how did the Titans do this, and how concerning a loss should this be for the Patriots?
Dean Pease was once the Patriots defensive coordinator. He is the defensive coordinator. He dreamed up a wonderful bunch of schemes for them, but they executed. Everybody's talking about the schemes and the blitzes and the exotic. They got the Brady up the middle. That's no secret. That's the way the Giants beat them twice in the Super Bowl. Everybody knows if you can do it, well, they did it. And they did it, and he not only is not good at that, but he starts seeing things that aren't even there, and he starts to turtle. And he was at his absolute worst yesterday. They caught him, and they made him look horrible.
Frank Isola?
Yeah, he looked 41 years old. And when you think about New England losing on the road to 2 former New England, one's a player, one's a coach, Matt Patricia, and then also yesterday to Tennessee, both games they only scored 10 points. So clearly their game plans were pretty good. And Bob is right. It's easy to go out there and say, you got to get to Brady early, you got to hit him. It's another thing to do it. Tennessee, which has an outstanding defense, got to Brady. That's why they won that game.
Yeah, well, Vrabel took his in and beat him in yesterday. That was pretty impressive with all those expats on the team. But you know what? It was still a Patriots team without Gronkowski. It was a Patriots team that, oddly enough, somehow got confused, made Brady look like he didn't know what he was doing, throwing into coverages a lot yesterday. But the bottom line is that you asked Tony, are the Patriots in trouble? Does this say anything about them? I don't think so. They got a bye coming up. They got some weak sisters coming on the rest of their schedule. They'll be just fine.
Okay, we've heard that before. Israel Gutierrez on how the Titans pulled this off yesterday.
First of all, as a 41-year-old, I take offense to Frank Isola saying Tom Brady looked like a 41-year-old as if it was some sort of major insult.
I'll be there next year.
Secondarily, I'm with KB here. If you look at, obviously, Tom Brady, look, he did look poor. He did not look like a quarterback who could save them. But obviously, no Gronkowski there. Sony Michel just coming back and at his first game only having, I think, 31 yards. That wasn't an offense that was really helping Tom Brady out, especially when you got on the other side. So many pieces, including the head coach, that know the Patriots. It was kind of a perfect storm. The Patriots lose one of these confounding games, even in the second half of years sometimes. This is the one.
Israel, Bob, on the question whether this is concerning for the Patriots. First to you, Bob.
Concerning, yeah, and I disagree. I think that they seldom lose these games after the beginning of the season. They get them out of their system, and on they go when they go 13-3. But this is a very disturbing loss at this point in the season. And yes, Gronkowski may never be the same again. And plus, the fact is, if anything happened to Edelman, who had to leave the game early, they are really in trouble.
That's a lot of ifs there. But one thing I know for certain is they have a bye week coming up, Bob. They have 2 games they have to worry about. 2 games, Minnesota and at Pittsburgh. The rest of it is against AFC East opponents. And again, you want to talk about everything that these Titans did to sort of upset the Patriots. That's more of sort of motivation, revenge factor. You know Belichick's not taking this lightly.
We'll move on. Let's talk the Jimmy Butler trade. Physicals happened today, and they were passed. But how great would it be if general soreness came up and they're like, you know what? I see some general soreness here. They can't really go through with this trade. How you process it for Philly and how Minnesota did finally pulling the trigger, getting Sarge and Covington. Frank, first to you.
Well, it's clear Philadelphia got the best player. The only thing now will be how will Jimmy Butler mesh with his young teammates. It didn't work in Chicago. Now, last year with Minnesota, they were in third place before he got hurt, was playing well, but they still did not get out of the first round. He was clashing with Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Little different story now with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is not passive-aggressive. He's going to go after Jimmy Butler if trouble starts. Same thing with Ben Simmons. So on the surface, those are 3 outstanding players. The big thing will be, will Jimmy Butler embrace his younger teammates?
Israel, take that baton from Frank Isola. How do you think this goes over in the locker room?
I actually think Jimmy Butler's been getting kind of a bad rap over his last couple of stops, if you consider that Chicago team was not built for somebody to come up and be like, hey, Jimmy Butler, for the first time giving a team under his cape or whatever, and he's all of a sudden supposed to carry them. That wasn't a very good team. And this team in Minnesota, it wasn't a great setting for him. He's going to go into Philadelphia with Embiid, a guy who can elevate a team, Ben Simmons, a guy who can elevate a team, and just be a part that doesn't have to sort of take them up and say, hey, guys, come with me. He's going to be an all-star level piece to that team, and I think it was a good move for them because their depth still isn't there, but they're going to need some real strength from that starting
KB, what do you think of what Israel said there?
Well, but doesn't Philadelphia want some sort of veteran leadership? I mean, isn't that something of what you're expecting from Jimmy Butler? And maybe, he has to get over this rumor that was about him getting along with younger players with Wiggins and Towns. So I think that's somewhat problematic. And when you figure in the factor of Markelle Fultz and the fact that it looks like he's maybe getting a little bit better, turning the corner, he's one guy that is definitely going to be impacted by this. The only question is whether it's going to be negative or positive.
That's the question I have for you. You're asking my question, answering my question with your own questions, Kevin Blackistone. Bob Ryan, how will this go over in the locker room?
Once again, the young player thing, and Joel Embiid is a very proud, aggressive. He wants to be a star, not just a ball player. He wants to be a Twitter star. He wants to have a cartoon. He wants to have a video game. He's a real handful, and I just want to see how that's going to work. And no, they can't stop here, by the way. They have no depth now, none, and they have to.
How good are the Sixers now? Frank, you want to answer that first?
Well, I still think they're behind Toronto. Eventually, I think they'll be behind Boston, and don't rule out Milwaukee. One thing about something that Izzy said, look at the Chicago team that he was on. Look at the Cleveland team that LeBron was on last year. They've won one game without him, so I'm not putting Jimmy Butler in the category of Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. Jimmy Butler is doing that, and you know where you have to prove it? Out on the court.
Israel?
I'm not putting him in that category either. I'm just saying the difference between Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, his current teammates, with his former teammates, Andrew Wiggins and to some extent Karl Anthony Towns. His current teammates are the type of players he wants. He wants those dogs. He wanted that type of mentality out of Andrew Wiggins and wasn't getting it, and it frustrated him. It's almost as if Jimmy Butler says, hey, I'll be an all-star. I'll be a star even if you need me to. I just don't want to have to deal with teammates that don't want it as badly as I do.
I think the question that we have to ask, I know that we're at the horn here, but this is around the horn. Let's go around around the horn. Bob, how did the T-Wolves look today, taking this trade after the last 2 months of mulling other trades over?
Not that they couldn't have handled this worse. Could not have handled it worse.
Isola?
The hostage crisis is over, and they got bludgeoned. Doesn't look good for their organization.
Blackstone?
Yeah, should have had some first-round picks out of this, not parts in the second round.
Gutierrez?
They put some faith in Tom Thibodeau, and he said, hold off on this deal. Let me make this right. He did not make that right. He looks even worse for this.
Gutierrez 18, Blackstone 17, Isola 25. Everybody's looking up at him. Bob Ryan hanging around. Buy or sell next on the other side.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Dodge.
If you're a smoker, you know switching isn't easy. You've tried vapes and e-cigs. They just didn't deliver the satisfaction you expected. But Juul is different. It's not an e-cigarette. It's a vapor product that actually satisfies. Plus, Juul is simple to use, and there's no cigarette ash and no lingering odor. As a smoker, you expect a certain nicotine experience, right? Juul delivers. Give Juul a try. Check out JUUL.com/sports. Switch and be satisfied. Yes, you can do both. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Welcome back to Around the Horn, coming to you from the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17.
The Houston Rockets and one Carmelo Anthony. Who had less than a month? Let me hear it. It's buy or sell one. The response from other NBA players, by the way, that's been loud. That Melo is being scapegoated here for Houston's bad start. You can address that, but Israel, who do you blame for this going so far south?
Man, it's hard to say. Honestly, I blame the public for expecting this much more from Carmelo Anthony.
Blame the public. Very interesting. Okay.
As good. Oh, that's right. They're judging us too. No, I just don't think the expectations should have been as high as they were. And I believe if all the other pieces, Harden sitting out a few, just the natural regression in a Mike D'Antoni offense, I think you were going to see this, and maybe
you're going to see this. It's a mute button. And let's just think for a second. Whose job is it to educate the public about what's going on? Well, that would be Israel Gutierrez. Kevin Blackstone, how about you?
Yeah, well, it's got to start with offense, and you can't put that all on Carmelo Anthony. This is a team that was shooting lights out last year, particularly from the three-point line. This year, they're not doing any of that. Their defense has gotten worse. We know that they had the problems with injuries to begin with, but you know what? This is all on everybody. They are not scoring points.
Isola?
10 days ago, right across the river, he scored 28 points in a game against Brooklyn, had 17 the next night and winning at Chicago. So he had done well. Something tells me they told him, hey, listen, Gary Clark right now is a better two-way player. You're probably not going to play. Then Carmelo must have said, hang on a second. I accepted a bench role. Now you don't even want me to play. But when other NBA players talk about respect, it has nothing to do with that. Right now, they feel like they have a better option than Carmelo Anthony. That's
Bob Ryan.
This team is last in field goal percentage, astonishingly. That's number one. But number two is that maybe they've taken a look at him and said, we now see his game up close and personal. We just don't like it. But I find it curious that this illness took place after he went 1 for 11. We haven't seen him since.
Frank, on the whole scapegoating of Melo here, and other players really rallying to his side.
Well, who are they referring to? Are they talking about the media, or are they talking about the Houston Rockets organization? Remember something. You've had LeBron come out, Dwayne Wade. They're friends with Carmelo. Guess who else is his friend? Chris Paul, the point guard. So he should be the one to explain to everybody what exactly is going on there in Houston.
We'll move on. Buy or sell to the Chicago Bears. They're 6-3. Their defense has been mechanized. Their offense has been Mitchanized. Their wins are somewhat marginalized. Not one team they have beaten right now is a winning record right now, I should say. Their kicker, Cody Parkey, has been magnetized. 4 uprights. 4 uprights yesterday. Wow. KB, are you a Bears believer yet?
Yeah, I'm going to buy the Bears. This is why. They're a top 5 offensive unit right now. They have a leader in a quarterback. Their defense is stellar as well. They're number 1 in turnovers created in the NFL right now. Don't blame who they played on them. They do have the Vikings coming up twice in the second part of this season. Their season will be made there.
This is all about the quarterback. He's a guy that had a 6-touchdown game earlier this season. Yesterday, he was outstanding. They were criticized heavily when they drafted him. It looks like he's turning out to be a pretty good player. Number 1 in the division.
Bob Ryan?
355 yards yesterday, career high. Yes, it is, but it's not all about him. It's certainly on offense, he's the primary guy. But the Khalil Mack thing can't be overstated. I mean, they just get a spring in their step just knowing that he's on their team.
Andrew Gutierrez.
This is the NFL. This week, you remove the Carolina Panthers as contenders. You insert the Chicago Bears as contenders. And with that defense, of course, with the way they're turning the ball over and with basically one big game against the Vikings, they could still win their division. All of a sudden, the Bears look like they could have momentum going into
Okay, so everybody's buying, everybody's believing. Is anybody willing to call them this year's LA Rams? The team that makes a jump with a young quarterback? No. With a defense that's flesh-eating? No. That's 4 no's. All right. Bob, you seem a little intrigued, but I'm not going to quote you on that.
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I am.
Good. Well, we'll take that to go. Gutierrez, Ryan are done. Blackistone, Isola. That's going to be the showdown. I think you guys met last week in Showdown. Do I have that right? Maybe I have that wrong. Doesn't matter. We'll see who wins it next.
I can't believe it.
That Philip brought his little brother on our mission into orbit.
How long until we get there? How long until we get there? How long until we get there?
No, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico.
What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do? What's this button do?
Don't touch that. Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Lee Jeans. Explore new collections at Lee.com.
Blackistone, Isola, and Showdown. I hope you guys woke up feeling dangerous. Showdown 1, the Jets led up 41 to the Bills, and history was made. Matt Barkley, the lineman Deion Dawkins, has to be the least fantasy hookup of all time. Huzzah! The Jets will not be firing Todd Bowles, now at least. KB, does letting up 41 to Buffalo mean you have to clean house, and does it mean you have to clean house now?
It means you have to clean house, but not right now, Tony. Getting rid of Todd Bowles and bringing in somebody else off that staff is not going to make a difference for the immediate future of the Jets.
Todd Bowles, good man, class act. The players talk about all the time, you know what, we have his back. It's, he's putting us in the right position. We'll go out there and start doing something because Todd Bowles is going to be fired at the end of the season.
This is your busy season, Frank. New York team's stinking. We'll give you the point. We'll move on. Showdown 2. So how did you guys wake up? Did you wake up groggy? Emotionally unavailable? Not Baker Mayfield. He woke up feeling dangerous.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Care to expand on that?
I just woke up feeling real dangerous.
He had the near-perfect game. Chubb had the near-perfect game from the backfield. Browns beat the Falcons by 12. Was this more of a step back for Atlanta or a step forward for Cleveland, Frank?
It's about a step forward for Cleveland. Believe it or not, there's something that they haven't had there for a few years. Hope. And how about Greg Williams? He got to win. Not bad.
No, this is a step back for Atlanta. They just had a breakout game last week. They had a chance to make a move in their division. Now they're 2 games back again. Man, a big step back.
Big step forward for Blackistone. Showdown 3. The numbers we saw this week. Jimmer, 75 in China in a loss. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 406 for 3 points total in a loss. Seahawks, 273 yards rushing in a loss, but that's nothing compared to Davidson. 789 yards rushing. That's what the team had, and they still lost. KB, who took the L the best?
Oh, the L goes best to Davidson because that is the only number that you said is an absolute record. The others have been done better before.
Jimmer had 70 points, 40 in the fourth quarter, and guess what? Pierre Jackson, who used to play in the United States, had 63 points and the game winner. So come on, Jimmer, 70 points, you got to win the game.
You're shorting him a few there, Frank. Point game time goes to Kevin Blackistone.
Thank you very much. We've talked about the Rockets. We've talked about Jimmy Butler. We've talked about Philly. We've talked about everybody in the NBA except the best team in the NBA. Apologies to Canada. Toronto Raptors deserve to be talked about. The best threesome right now in basketball between Ibaka, Kawhi, and Kyle Lowry, even leading the league in assists right now with 11 dimes a game. Raptors haven't lost a step.
All right, here's the assist right here. We'll see you tomorrow.
Warriors.